Believe it or not, this is not the only time we've had a problem with not having a front door. Misplaced episode 2, let's go. I'm going to start today's episode with some racing, because that's the main focus of my base this season. CT placed all of the ice around the edge, but unfortunately it still doesn't have any packed ice on it, so I had to start off with doing that. Isn't mining ice just the best thing? Like, listen to this. Very soon you'll see some awesome drifts and some awesome speed that we got around this amazing track that we've made. I wanted to have some areas like this where people are able to fall off the track so that we have some DNFs, but to be honest, it doesn't really happen that much. I also want people to have to think about whether they want to take the fast route around the edge of the track or the slow route around the middle. I added blue ice around the edge here to try and make that a dilemma, but I think the middle was still faster, so later on I'm going to add some stoppers in the middle so that it's slower. And people really have to think about which route is the fastest. At this point, I couldn't help myself but do some quick runs around the track, even though it's not finished yet. At this point, I wanted people to go really fast before that final drift around the finish line to make this as skill intensive as possible, and Boiling helped me out with placing the blue ice, which was nice. Finally, I had to finish placing the exterior walls to the racetrack to really make it feel complete and whole. Later on, CT and I are going to place some string on the blue ice because it looks pretty bad when the snow lands on it, doesn't it? I don't know why snow has to land on blue ice and not any of the other ones, like, pick a lane, Mojang. So I needed to set a pretty decent baseline score, and honestly, I thought I did pretty good, and I was very quickly proven wrong. You'll see. I still got some pretty wicked footage out of it though. "39 seconds. Yeah, the record now is like 37.5 seconds. I'm not getting close to that. I need to do something else now. Like most SMPs, we have a shopping district, and if we can be the first people to make a shop, we'll get all the business right at the beginning. As you can see, I've done this in the same style as our base, because like our base, this is based around— I'm saying the word base a lot. This is based around modern things and speed, so we're going to be selling elytras, rockets, and most importantly, nether portals, and a few other random bits and bobs. To be honest, I could have been happier with the shape of this build, but it certainly does do its job, so it doesn't matter. Moving on to the interior, I wanted to keep it fairly simple since all this is really going to be for is selling stuff and people aren't going to see it very much. But I kept the same main patterns as the base, so a red curved ceiling, a stone brick floor, and a birch back wall. And I did this all with the intention of trying to keep it feeling as similar to the base as possible, and I certainly did achieve that with it feeling more like an extension than a shop. Moving on to downstairs, I did most of the same thing, but there is one key thing that I did different, and that's that I made the ceiling out of iron blocks, and there's an important reason for this. We had too many iron blocks. Now, thanks to the replay mod, I managed to capture a rather comical moment that if you follow my shorts, you might have seen before. And the creeper heads out on its journey to find its next target. Believe it or not, this is not the only time we've had a problem with not having a front door. Setbacks aside, I can finish up the floor, add some stairs, and give you a quick tour. This shop is going to be called Snow Bowl Speed, because we specialize in making people move fast, not the drug. And if you go inside, you can see that we sell elytras, rockets, and iron. And on this back wall, you can see that we have limited deals, and in this barrel here we have trims, which is quite cool. And if you look closely, you'll see these will say MCH, not diamonds, and it's pretty obvious that that's because we have a currency. Let me get a look at this. You can see that these all have our faces on it. Everyone's got one of their own. Now, why do we need a currency? Not a lot of SMPs have them, to be honest. The reason is because of one person. This person who made this big— not the Jesus statue, the black statue. Damari. Damari mined 80 stacks 80 stacks! And he spent 10 of them on our shop alone. And I don't think you need to have an economics degree to figure out that an economy like this is not particularly inclusive. Now, what did he spend it on? This. All of this iron, all of these beacons, like, what does he need? What does he need? Why? Why? Some people, man. I'm calm. On to upstairs. There's only 2 things up here and only one of them's interesting. This portal. This is the Snowball Nether Subway, aka the Nether Hub that I plan on making. Because last episode everyone was complaining about not having a Nether Hub, and now everyone has Elytras, so I'm making one that no one will use to compensate. The design I'm going for is very heavily inspired by the London Underground. I don't know if it's actually as dirty as it looks, but it looks very dirty, the London Underground. So I've gone for a very sudden gradient from the dark black to a fairly light grey, and some train tracks, because it's a train track. But I've got to keep it fairly simple, because I'm going to be building a lot, and I mean a lot, of these tunnels, and to be honest, people aren't going to see most of them because they'll be flying. I've mostly chosen blocks that are fairly easy to get in large quantities, like stone and deep slate. And to get that true immersion, so that we can forget we're in the nether, I've added some lighting. The train station is more than just its tracks, so of course we've got to connect some of the more relevant portals to each other, so right here we're connecting our main base to our starter base that's now a communal villager area. I'm referring to these as minor connections as opposed to major connections, and they're all going to be color coordinated based on what base they're closest to. To make sure people know which one's which, we made a map. And when I say made, I mean I designed, CT built, and no one really cares about Bomber. If I make this map real quick, you'll see I actually put quite a lot of effort into it, and I placed banners on it to make you are here signs. How neat is that? Anyway, time to blow things up. Time for CT to help out with the grindy bit. Placing and 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 placing. Lots of placing the same things over and over again. But hey, that's what survival Minecraft is really, isn't it? Is it? I don't know, that's what I do. And I'm actually really happy with how these tunnels came out, despite their fairly minimal effort. More blowing things up. Other than when you accidentally blow up your own portal, explosions are fun, aren't they? There's something I found very enjoyable about this part of the time-lapse, like just watching me and CT like little worker bees smoothing off the edges. So satisfying. But at this point I think you're fairly familiar with the gist. More placing, lots of blackstone, lots of deep slate, lots more deep slate, lots of stone, lots of placing. I mean, take a moment to appreciate this song though, this is an absolute bop. It's got like 3 names, I can't figure out what it's called. It's either Up in My Jam, All of a Sudden, or Gas Powered. Either way, it's by Cubby. Final thing to add, I'm still not 100% sure about, but it's just making the center area also feel like a train station rather than the tunnels meeting. It's a bit weird. But I'm not particularly happy with this. I gotta figure out something else. I'm sure it'll be fine. Using the bedrock as the roof is interesting though. I've killed so many magma cubes, like an ungodly amount. Look at this. 3,003 magma cubes. You know how many magma cubes that is? That's 3,003 magma cubes. Anyway, thanks for watching, bye.